What are you smelling? What are you feeling in your body? What are you seeing if you have your eyes open, or can you close your eyes? And then the real key to mindfulness is, as you're sitting there, allowing the thoughts and the feelings to come without judgment or calls to action.
Jump, you're ready now. Jump, the sky's the limit. Jump, jump, jump. Leave it all behind and jump. Just go for it. Jump, if you can dream it. Jump, jump, jump. Together we can do all things.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome to Jump. It's so good to be here with you guys. The first day of the year, 22. What a blessing. Today I have my friend. I'm so excited because she's my friend and life coach, Kristin Campbell. And Kristin Campbell is one of the most meaningful, thoughtful people that I know in my life. And to me, bringing her is like wrapping a gift to you guys. So not only for your heart to be inspired, but for your sanity, your mental health, to just get a boost of energy. That's what she brings in the table. So Kristin, welcome to Jump.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here. You blessed me with your words. Thank you.
Oh
Wonderful.
My goodness. So I know that we were going to talk about, I know you're doing like this amazing 5 steps to your best self for 2022. Mm-hmm. And I love that because that's going to help our listeners and creators. You wanted to listen to this. So if you are at the gym or driving, make sure that you listen all the way to the end, guys, because this will help you out. So the 5 practice for your best self. I'm excited because I wanted to develop that myself. And most of the time when you come up with something incredible like you do all the time, it helps me tremendous to move forward as a creator and entrepreneur. So what is that? What is the best self? What is it?
So I always say that, you have to be your best self. There is only one of you. And I believe that each person is unique. They're designed with specific gifts and talents, with different purposes here on life. And that we should never try to be someone else. That there's so much wonder in each of us that you really want to focus on just being the best you that you can be. And that just takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of just self-discovery, just believing in yourself, and just really being, like I said, courageous enough to really step into all that you were created to be. So when I was thinking about the new year, there's so many things that come up with the resolutions and the, do this, don't do that. And I don't really want to put that kind of pressure on anyone, because I know for myself, my resolutions usually end by, if I make it to February, that's like a success, but it usually doesn't happen. So I just thought, what is really important and what has really helped me? And I came up with these 5 key practices. And they're just that. They're practices. They take time. They're going to develop as the more you do them, but they're really going to help each person bring out the best version of themselves.
Now, before we jump into the practice, can you tell us a little bit about you? I know you are a life coach. Can you tell us a little bit more? How did you started getting into this field of inspire people in this area?
Right. I think it's always been a part of me. I've always just loved just encouraging people. I've always loved connecting with people. When I was in college, I studied psychology, human development, marriage and family therapy. I worked in various positions, doing pastoral counseling, working with troubled teens, working with families. And then I had my own family and my focus shifted, and I was mom to 3 amazing kids, and, just really focusing on them, but still along the same lines of just caring for people. And then I thought, they're getting older. They're starting to not need me as much. So I said, I want to get back into that full time. And life coaching for me is just the perfect fit for my heart, because I'm working as a partner with people to help them uncover, what's inside of them. So I'm not, telling people what to do. I'm not, putting that responsibility on me, but really just helping people just to discover who they are, encouraging them, empowering them to walk in their destinies, and just being a partner in that journey. And that really, it fills my heart. I love it.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's beautiful, because it also shows that there's a time under the heavens for everything, but you find the purpose. Like, now it's time to follow through the calling and the purpose, and you're not abandoning that. You're not leaving that alone. It's beautiful. Let's get into the practice. I'm excited and I cannot wait. Number 1 practice. I am going to jump out of this screen because I love vision. I love vision. And what you wrote it, by the way, guys, she has a very wonderful Instagram that she puts resourceful, beautiful things. But what you wrote it there, you said beginning with the end in mind. Come on, drop the mic. I love that.
Well, yeah. So that's from Stephen Covey. So he is a wonderful motivator and writer. So that's something that I developed, oh my gosh, years ago. I don't even remember where it came up from, but and you can start to make the changes and the adjustments. I think, the reason I said vision is because I think so often all of us just kind of go, it is what it is. It is what it is. This is happening. Well, it is what it is. And there's almost even this like cultural mindset of just, don't rock the boat too much. It's just, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it, or you got to push through or whatever. And I think we need to challenge that thinking, and we need to start saying when we're in a situation, just start that practice of asking that question, what do I want this to look like? Some circumstances, they're out of our control, but within our control. What within this circumstance can I make some changes to? Not just it is what it is, and I'm just going to blindly go into it, but what do I want this to look like? How can I make this work for me to align with who I am, to align with my core values and beliefs? To make it as much of a positive situation in my life as I can. So I think that's really important.
It's basically, the vision is to remember in every step,
So some of the things that you can do is just take a step back and look at what is actually happening. So look at the situation that's coming in, and figuring out first and foremost, what can I control and what can I not control? Because I think a lot of times we also get way too involved in what we don't have control over, and we are blinded to what we do have control over. And one of the easiest things you have control over is your responses, your reactions, your thoughts, your feelings. So sometimes it's not only looking at, are there physical steps I can take, but is there a belief or a mindset that maybe I need to adjust to get the best outcome in this situation?
That's pretty powerful. If I love what you said, you just said, if there's a belief or a system that needs to be adjusted. And
Right.
most of the time, we all have something that we bring that we're like, we always did this way. We don't know why, but now we're just, right? All right. So I'm excited. So we talk about vision. The second one is
pausing.
Pausing.
Practicing the pause. So this is, I love all of that. This is one of my favorites. And really what this is just creating a space before we respond or react. I wrote on the Instagram, we live in a world where everything is instantaneous and it's convenient. But I think we've conditioned ourselves to just give these automatic responses, to just react to situations without allowing ourselves or really giving ourselves permission to create that space that we need. So this could be as simple as if someone is asking you to volunteer for another PTO event, being able to say, I need to get back to you, and creating a pause to think, do I have the time? Do I have the energy? Do I have the resources? Do I have the desire? Because just because you have time doesn't mean it's really going to be the best thing for you. But I think we're very quick to respond, or, if we're having a tense moment with a family member, and I'm speaking all from personal experience here. These are all situations I've been in. Taking that pause where I respond, especially with my children, is this the tone? What's really upsetting me? It might not have anything to do with the fact that my child wants to watch TV. I might still be upset because of a phone conversation I had with someone a few minutes earlier. So kind of separating that. So what I do to help me is I actually take my thumb and my middle finger and I press them together when I'm in those moments, almost like I'm giving myself like a pause button. This is like just a silly little trick, but it works for me. Everybody can find their own thing to do. Some people put their hands together, but for me, I just press my thumb and middle finger together. And that signals me, take a breath, just pause. Even if it's just for 30 seconds, just take a breath, step back. You don't have to respond immediately, and think, what is going to be best for me in this situation? What is really going on? Am I really upset, like I said, with, my child asking for a cookie for the 50th time, or am I still dealing with something else? Do I need a break? Do I need to respond to this email right now?
Wow.
And I think a lot of times we feel like if we get that text message, we have to respond right away. Or if the phone rings, we have to answer it. And we don't. We really don't. And it's okay to create
liberating. That. It's liberating to think about that you can give yourself time. It's liberating to think, because a lot of the time society doesn't say that,
Right. So giving yourself permission. And one of the other questions I ask is, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't engage? And a lot of times it's nothing. It's nothing. I feel that pressure to respond instantly, to enter into this quickly. But really, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't respond to this, or if I don't engage in this conversation, if I just walk away?
That's incredible. That's
weighing
incredible.
That out.
That's something that is going to be my practice for me, because I do have sometimes I have impulsive, like, yes, let's do this. Yes, let's plan right now. Let's do this. And I need to learn how to pause and give myself time to see, is this something? Because sometimes when you say yes to something, you already feel in your bones like, I don't know, like, how I'm going to do this. You already start feeling anxiety by the time you said yes. And then you're trying to figure out the whole time how to get out. How can I get out of this?
Right. So it creates all of this added stress and anxiety. And I've been in that position where I've said yes. And afterwards it's caused more of a conflict within me than if I had just taken the 30 seconds and said, I'm sorry, I'm not available for this.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
And it's going to be okay. People can learn how to respond. Like they're asking you a question. They have to understand that no is a possible answer.
Right.
So then it becomes on them whether they can
Yeah.
accept that no or not. But, it's really
Pretty
just
good.
trying to find that balance so that you're not in that position where later you're having all
Yeah.
the anxiety and then you're not doing it out of joy.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes a bigger mess than it needs to
You're
be.
right. You're right about that. I love that. Pausing. All right. So number 3, self-compassion.
Self-compassion. So
Ooh.
this is something that I could spend forever talking about. It's
Really?
something, yes, that I had to go through. On my Instagram, I do recommend a book titled Self-Compassion by Kristin Neff. And she has a website. She is an amazing researcher on this topic. She's got so much wisdom. What it basically comes down to is just being kind to yourself. So, again, we live in a society where we don't give ourselves the grace, the love, and the acceptance that we need. We can give it to other people pretty easily. But when it comes to ourselves, our internal dialogue, sometimes you wouldn't want to even share with people what you say to yourself because you would never speak that way to a loved one or to a child or to a dear friend.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we feel like it's okay to say that to ourselves.
Right.
So, man, if there's one thing that I would really encourage everybody to practice this year is to have more self-compassion, to stop beating yourself up with different things that you say to each other. And what Kristin talks about is the 3 elements, which is that self-kindness, again, that talking to yourself like you would a loved one or a friend. She talks about the common humanity. We all make mistakes. We all have failures. We all have embarrassing moments. We all have grief. We all have shame. We are all human. So everybody has experienced everything that you're experiencing. There is someone out there that has gone through the exact same thing.
Wow.
You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. All these things that we tell ourselves, I'm such a failure. I can't believe I did that. I'm the only person who would have ever said something like that. I'm an idiot. I mean, we beat ourselves up, but we're all human. We all experience these emotions. We all have these situations. And as soon as people start talking about it, I mean, people are like, oh my gosh, yes, that happened to me. And that happened to me. And all of a sudden you're not alone anymore. But we have this like shame that kind of says, shh, don't tell anybody, that happened. So having self-compassion and realizing that, we all have gone through it. And then she also talks about mindfulness, and that's just, having that balanced awareness, because mindfulness is a whole nother step for me. But she talks about just having this awareness where you don't dismiss what's going on, but you also don't over exaggerate what's going on. So it's, you realize this is a moment in time. This might be a very embarrassing or a very difficult moment in time, but it's still just a moment. So experiencing it, going through it, and I say a lot, it's not this positive vibes only. I can't do the positive vibes only because sometimes you have to experience that negative emotion. That's the only way that you can bring certain healing and certain learning. But realizing that this too shall pass. That's one of my favorite Bible verses ever because it's so true. Too shall pass, whether it's good or bad. It's still just a moment. It's just a moment.
That's good.
It doesn't define you. You don't have to stay there. It's a moment. So just having that awareness, you can be kinder to yourself and saying, you know what? Maybe today I did lose my temper. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Right.
Maybe today I yelled at my child for something very silly. That doesn't mean I'm a bad mother. There were a
Right.
lot of other things going on. I lost my temper. A lot of people lose their tempers in different
Mhm.
situations. It's okay. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to go through it. I'm not going to sit and beat myself up for a half hour.
Right. Right.
So it's having that mindset of loving, accepting, and caring for yourself.
That's so good. And you said the number 4 was mindfulness, and you
Yes.
just touched that. So it was like, it kind of like goes together because you also
Mm.
are talking about mindfulness into self-compassion too. So
Yes.
it goes side by side.
Yes, all of these practices actually intertwine. So they're all going to connect with each other, which is why I really like them, because I think as you start practicing one, all the others kind of come into play, which makes it really nice. So, mindfulness, I wrote about it on one of my blogs. There's like practical steps to bring yourself back into the present moment. So,
Mm.
mindfulness is really, even if you just take 5 minutes a day, and I understand busyness. I understand it. I have been the one that has locked herself in the bathroom and still have had little fingers coming under the door.
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
understand how hard it can be to get those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you can, if there's a way,
Mhm.
even if it's longer, wonderful, but even if it's 5 minutes, to sit quietly, to
Right.
quiet all the noise,
Mhm.
focus on your breathing, pay attention to the senses. So I say, what are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you feeling in your body? What are you seeing if you have your eyes open, or can you close your eyes? And then the
Mhm.
real key to mindfulness is, as you're sitting there, allowing the thoughts and the feelings to come without judgment. So
Um,
some you can't explain, but if you don't give it power, it will go.
yeah.
It's when you give it power that either something really good can happen or something really bad can happen,
Mm.
depending on what the thought
Right.
or emotion is. So as you're sitting there, sometimes we go through life, and again, it's this fast paced situation, and things will happen to us, and we stuff them, and we don't realize it. We're not intentionally doing it. It's just
Mm.
life is going on, and I don't have time to deal with this. So I stuff it. But those feelings are going to come out somewhere, in some
Mhm.
conversation, in some reaction. At some point, they're going to come out. So when you sit intentionally
Mm.
and you quiet your body
Mm.
intentionally, you give that space for some of these things to just come up. And then you can
That's good.
decide what to do with them. If it's
Yeah.
something, again, not doing the
Yeah.
positive vibes only, if something comes up that maybe is uncomfortable, but I need to breathe this, or I need to feel this,
Yeah.
then you decide at that point if you have the time and energy to go through that. Or if something comes up and you're like, you know what, that's not really how I feel about this situation, or
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
really what I believe about this situation.
Right.
I'm going to let that thought go without
So,
judgment.
yeah. So I have a question for you, because a lot of our listeners are creators and
Mm,
artists. Can they use mindfulness and doodle or journaling or doing something that helps
yes.
them? Yeah. Can they just, because sometimes it's hard to not do anything, but can they just be doodling, take time to do a piece of art that is not for sale, or somebody asks you, or is that part of that
Yes.
process? Okay.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I've had people who either have a notebook dedicated to that quiet
Mm.
time, where if it's a page that they don't
Right.
like what came out, they rip it up and they throw it
Right.
out. If they like it, then sometimes they turn it into something more, whether it's a writing or a teaching. You can do that with a sketch pad. If drawing is the way that you express and process, grab a sketch pad and sit down. And as these things come up, doodle or write or do whatever you need to do. The important piece of that is that you don't attach judgment to it.
Wow.
You just let it come out. You just let it flow. Because afterwards, after you get it all out, sometimes I look at things and I'm like, oh my gosh, afterwards I'm thinking, okay, that doesn't fit with me. So we're not going to give life to that thought. It doesn't fit anymore. And other times I'm like, oh, you know what? I really need to pay some attention to that because that does resonate with me. So that thought I'm going to spend some time on, but I'm not going to judge myself depending on what comes up. And again, that ties back into that self-compassion piece.
Yes.
Thoughts are thoughts and emotions are emotions, and they don't have power till you give them life.
Yeah. Now, when we're navigating towards the last one, which is number 5, you have taught me about take time to be curious. So when you taught me about curiosity, you talked to me about taking time to be curious. I didn't name curious before. I named trying to rest or trying to rent. I had other names, but when you revealed the name, take time to be curious. Now I kind of use this term like, this is my curious time. I need to go there because I need the time to do that. Example, last night, I watched on TV that Disney decorated for Christmas, and they made it a gingerbread house in the size like of a house.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, that's interesting. So I said, I want to take time to be curious. I want to be curious how they did it. So I literally drove all the way to the hotel to go to the Magic Kingdom, to take the boat, to walk into the Glenfarine, to see this gingerbread house.
Yes.
To just take time to be curious. Now, during that time, we ended up hearing a noise, so we could come out of the hotel, and they were having the fireworks from a different view, from the hotel view. It was a view that I have never seen, with the music and everything in it. And I was so surprised that I went to be curious about something that I knew that was inside, but then I find out something I did not knew that was there. And I was like, that was so refreshing to me to sit there and watch the fireworks with a different feel. It was so wonderful. You have taught me that. You have taught me this time of curiosity. It's literally life-giving for us to keep moving forward. And it goes back to a loop, right? To all the way to vision. Now, what do you have to say about curiosity?
I tell you, that example, my smile can't get any bigger, because that's exactly what curiosity is. It's when you are open to discovering something, and as you pursue it, other possibilities, other discoveries, other perspectives open up that you would have never, ever known about if you hadn't taken that first step. So for me, curiosity is creativity. It is learning. It is growth. It is new possibilities. I think this is like just the cherry on the top of these 5 practices, because it takes into account all of them. Staying curious in this new year, especially with everything that's changing, is going to open up so many doors, not just physically, but staying curious about who you are, staying curious about what you believe. Why do you believe it? Where did that belief first come from? I think a lot of times, all of us, we have these habits and thought patterns that just, you had said it earlier in the podcast, they've always been there. We've always thought this way. But how many of us have actually sat down and said, why do I think this way about
Why? Yes.
situations? So I
Right.
think it's channeling that inner 3-year-old and starting just to ask questions as you become aware, which again goes back to the mindfulness, because the more you practice this mindfulness, the more you become aware of who you really are. You become aware of which thoughts and feelings really flow with your authentic self. You bring that balance. So the more you practice that mindfulness, the more you can get curious about, why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way or believe this way? And it's not always to change your beliefs or your thoughts. There, just because you've had this belief or thought your whole life doesn't mean it's bad, but you want to know why you have it. You want to make sure that it's coming from a place that still aligns with your authentic self. Because there are some thoughts and beliefs that we've just adopted because that's how we were raised that maybe don't serve us anymore. And if that comes up, practice self-compassion.
That's good.
It's okay. You only knew what you knew.
That's so.
Right? So if you find this belief that you're like, wow, that really doesn't line up with who I am, it's okay. The great news is change is possible. You're in control of that. You can change that. You can step into a new mindset. But staying curious about everything. I love, because curiosity, I do believe, is just the mother of creativity. You have to be curious to be creative.
This was, wait. You just created a quote. Say it again.
Curiosity is the mother of creativity.
By Kristin Campbell. That is a quote. That is a quote. That is a quote. Curiosity. We forget that.
We do.
And then when we were little kids, at least for me, when I asked too many questions, or if I was like, why is there? What did it? I remember the reaction I got is, please stop.
Right.
Can you just stop? Now I'm like, that was money in the bank. I was asking those questions. Let me understand that. And I still have that. Like, why did this is not falling apart? What has creation to do that? Now, what you're telling me is curiosity is the mother of creativity, because somebody asked why this is done this way.
Right. And not just creativity in the artistic way, but in corporations, in businesses. You need to ask why these systems are in place in order to maybe fix some of the problems that are arising. If you don't start getting curious about the structures and about the internal mindsets and the corporate beliefs. So it's not just creatives in the writers and the artists and the sculptors, but also in just everyday life and in businesses. You need to get creative. But you're absolutely right. When we're growing up, how many times did I hear, okay, enough, like too many questions, like stop, just take our word for it. Because it is. It is because it is. Again, it goes back to that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And challenging that.
That's incredible. Yes. The best about having you the first of this new year is every time I sat with you, I always felt like people need to know you and the gift that you have to add so much to their lives. You just, that inner voice is just so powerful. I'm so excited because I know you have something special for our listeners, right?
I do.
This year, what is it that you have prepared for us?
So for the listeners, I have a special 1-hour life coaching session free.
No way. That's so generous of you.
Full
to do
hour.
That. That's generous, because you're going to sit down and you're going to give everyone 1-hour session with you.
Yes.
Forget it. That's amazing. So what do they have to do?
So if you go to my website, which is thekristincampbell.com, and we'll get it out there, you'll see that I do offer a 30-minute free discovery session.
Yes.
Normally. But if you scroll down, you will see the 1-hour life coaching session, which is currently a $65 value.
Wow.
You can click on that. A calendar will come up so you can choose a time that works with your schedule. When you go to check out, you're going to put in the coupon code Rebecca, REBECA.
REB. My name is Rebecca. Coupon code. I never have been a coupon code.
You're my coupon code.
I'm so thrilled. I'm telling
that will take off the $65 and you will have a full 1-hour life coaching session.
That's incredible. Yes. That's so generous and that's so giving of you to do that. And so people have to do that by pretty quick here because your schedule is filling up for the year. So when do they have to do that? As soon as possible?
So as soon as possible. The code is good for one person per one session. And the expiration date is going to be the end of March.
Okay, guys. So you all know this is the time. I'm going to tell you. So go do this before March 2022. Wonderful. Yes. Well, Kristin, it's been a joy to have a conversation with you. You're so peaceful and giving, and you inspire us to love ourselves a little bit more and take a little more time. And I love what you bring to all of us. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the things that you're going to create. I'm excited to see how many people you're gonna help. I'm excited to continue hearing the teachings and the stories and the things that you have to give out, which there are so many. And I'm so honored to call you friend. I really am. And I'm thankful for you. So guys, connect with Kristin. Go to her Instagram, send her messages. She's open to meet you and talk to you. Right?
Yes. I look forward to it. I can't wait. Thank you.
Kristin, thank you so much for being a jump. Happy New Year, friend.
Happy New Year.
Woo! Let's do it. Yes.
Jump, you're ready now. Jump, the sky's the limit. Jump, jump, jump. Leave it all behind and jump. Just go for it. Jump.